It's July 24th, 2009, and I am preparing for my presentation at AAJ this year out in San Francisco. And I wanted to screen capture the presentation so that I can provide it to those who would like to review it after the conference. The title of the presentation is Evaluating Your Current Marketing Plan and Taking Action to Change with the Times. At the 2009 Academy Awards, I was delighted when Heath Ledger was awarded an Oscar for his Best Supporting Actor role as the Joker in The Dark Knight. And I remember seeing that movie. As a matter of fact, my nephew is a fan of Batman, and I went to see it. I just kind of was interested, not that I'm a Batman fan. But as I'm watching the film at the theater, there was this great line that was so profound to me that I immediately pulled out my iPhone and I started recording the dialogue as a note. I'm going to show you that clip right now.
You know what I noticed? Nobody panics when things go according to plan, even if the plan is horrifying.
In case you didn't catch that, here's what he said. You know what I've noticed? Nobody panics when things go according to plan, even if the plan is horrifying. That statement's so relevant to legal marketing, and here's why. What I find is that the average law firm is still focusing the bulk of their advertising and their marketing budget and resources on traditional mass media advertising, Yellow Pages and things like that, even though virtually every attorney in the country will tell you that the way to grow your business is to focus on strategies that lead to a more consistent stream of referrals. And they'll also tell you that the future is in leveraging the internet, but so far it's not really working for them. I hear that all the time. So the result? Some pretty horrifying legal marketing plans that say very little about relationship-driven strategies or the internet. I want to talk about relationship-driven strategies and the internet and where I see the future of legal marketing go and why I think we need to be there. Shifting your focus. Let's look back. We're very familiar with this. There's snail mail, Yellow Pages, the Walkman, the TV. And these things are all important. And let me just say this at the outset. I certainly believe in traditional mass media advertising. I happen to be a big fan of TV marketing when it's done properly for attorneys, and I think that I've seen it extremely effective. However, I began my work in statistical analysis, and I can tell you that every year I see the cost per call and the return on investment changing, and it's not getting better. It's getting worse. So traditional mass media advertising is still extremely important, but not as effective as it has been in the past. And so that's why I believe we need to look ahead, transition ahead. And some of the things you see here are what the new world is running on. And it's about digital media and email and online video and iPhones and applications and Facebook and other social media sites. And in a lot of ways, it is outbound marketing versus inbound marketing. Outbound marketing is yesterday's marketing. Not that it doesn't work again, but I'm going to focus mostly on inbound. And here's the difference. Outbound marketing is about sending your messages out. It's pushing messages out. And inbound marketing is about creating content and value where you're drawing people in. Okay? So outbound marketing it's interruption. It's pushing out the messages. Inbound is a process that draws in. And one internet marketer that I listen to often, his name is Paul Culligan, and he says what we really need to do is become publishers. We need to begin to publish information and then get it out there. And we're going to talk about all of that. But I wanted to introduce you to the concept of inbound marketing versus the old school outbound marketing. Let's talk about the key components of your new media marketing plan. There's nothing more important than creating content. And that's one of the things we want to touch on today is how to quickly and easily and very cost effectively create content. And then we want to talk about distributing content. How do you distribute it? On the internet, blogs, search engine optimization, pay-per-click, social media, online video and internet TV, podcasting and membership sites. Many, many ways to distribute content. And then let's talk about cultivating relationships, because you need to be cultivating relationships. I've often said to attorneys as we talk about strategy that there is never going to be, I don't believe there will ever be anything, maybe, but at this stage, the best is press the flesh. In other words, if you can have lunch with a key referral source and spend time with them, I don't think you're ever going to surpass the value and importance of that. However, in this day and age, and for most of the attorneys that I work with, it's just not realistic. They do not have the time to do a lot of press to flesh. And so what we talk about is leveraging technology and the internet in order to make that all scalable, so that in cultivating relationships, we're leveraging our time by using technology and the internet. And I want to tell you something about social media. You know, it's still true that people want to do business with those that they know, like, and trust. And that hasn't changed. But online, they really only need to know you a little bit. And you're ahead of the website that they've never heard of, or the people they've never heard of. And here's something very interesting. I can recall doing a presentation years ago, and we talked about the circle of 52, that when you look at that kind of your intimate circle, or even your somewhat extended, but basically most people years ago had kind of an intimate circle of 52. Well, do you know that in social media, those that are in social media talk to an average of 500 people a day? Can you imagine the potential of that if you're able to harness social media? Some of the things we're going to talk about in cultivating relationships is content-rich communications, consistently delivered. Audio, video, emails, text, blogs, etc. Client advisory panels, something that we've used with firms to really help the clients feel a part of the team. And the other win for us is that we find individuals that enjoy giving their opinion. And that's very valuable to have that ongoing research. In cultivating relationships, another thing that is tremendously valuable is speaking engagements, where you educate and go out there and provide information. And then firm culture and customer service. There must be a commitment to those two, and that certainly is a way to cultivate relationships. Let's talk about low-cost marketing resources. Actually, I'm going to get to that in a little bit, but there's a lot of things that you can do that are very low cost in terms of marketing resources. All right, creating content. Let's talk about the importance of constant content creation. You know, I work with a number of attorneys across the country, one of which is David Daggett of the Lewis and Daggett firm. And David and I, we really have a lot of fun because we both enjoy looking ahead. As a matter of fact, David is the one that said to me, Cindy, you know, one of the things I look to you for is you're always looking over the horizon. And we are. And one of the things, we're actually having our first Over the Horizon media conference in October. If you're interested in that, send me an email, cindy@cindyspeaker.com. We only have room for 50 attorneys, and we're going to start getting the word out on that in August. Anyway, with content creation, during the AAJ conference, David's going to present a little case study. One of the things we did is when the Hudson River plane crash happened, thankfully no one was injured. But as I wanted to test the technology and the ability to get page one status for that, should there be a catastrophe where potentially lawsuits would be, come into being there, I wanted to understand that when there was no one injured, I turned that experiment around and I created a little video that was really a tribute to Pilot Sully. I got that out through my distribution network. And by the way, we did this very, very quickly, within several hours of it happening. I sent that out, and as I said, I've kind of developed a system for doing that, because you can't just create the content, you must distribute it. And what happened is we ended up getting page one Google status very quickly. Now, we do not have page one Google status at this point. I think we're on page 2 for Hudson River plane crash. For Pilot Sully, though, we did pretty well, and that's really where I focused. If you go to YouTube and you look up Pilot Sully, you should see our video. It's a tribute video to an American hero, Pilot Sully. And actually, for the main sites like YouTube and Yahoo and some of the more mainstream sites, that little video has had 3,717 views. But that's not where it stopped. Because you know what? If you go to a little site called Kewego, Kewego, and you type in Pilot Sully, you'll find our video, and it's had 3,045 views. Now that's significant, because what I'm telling you is there are so many opportunities out there to get rankings, and what I can tell you quite frankly, and you know what, I almost hesitate to say this, because what I'm seeing right now, I see a lot of attorneys that have stuff on YouTube, and you should. But that's not where it stops. I can tell you that when I get to the sites like Kewego and Rever and Sharkle and Daily Motion and Blip and etc., we have almost no competition because the legal community is not tuned into them yet. But I can tell you that if you can get a little video out and get 3,000 views on a site called Kawego, that most attorneys would say, I don't care about that because nobody's ever heard of it. If you do that, you'll be one of a few, and you will share some great positioning with us, because on those little sites, I don't see any competition right now. We did the same thing with David Daggett when the ConAgra food explosion happened. And what we did is we very quickly, I interviewed David Daggett within a couple hours of that happening. I then took that interview, broke up the script, and created 5 videos, short videos. And if you go to conagraexplosion.com, you'll see those videos. What happened with them, that got us very high rankings. And not only that, it ended up getting David a 30-minute interview with a local radio station the next morning. Besides that, he's had people talking about that, having heard him on the radio station. So the important thing that I want you to understand here is it starts with creating content. We have to be able to create content quickly. And that's something that requires some understanding of technology. If you can't do it yourself, you need to have someone on your team that's able to do that. Let's talk about free tools and resources. Okay, when you're trying to position for keywords, there's many ways to look for that. And if you see this rather famous photo with Skype and Dig and Yahoo and Google, etc., that's a free marketplace out there. Well, if you want to find out what's being said out there about you or about keywords you're interested in, I suggest you set up Google Alerts. And what you would do is in that search term box, you would simply set up terms that you're interested in. And then you will get an email daily or weekly or however you set it up to let you know what's being said in the marketplace on the internet. Filterbox is Google Alerts on steroids. And so Filterbox will just give you that much more. Both of these are free tools. I think they're great free tools. Let's talk about technology. These are things, actually tools that I happen to love. The Flip Minnow is something that I recently, we had our first conference in June with our attorneys, and what we did is we got them flip videos, and we taught them how to use them. And that's what you see on the right where it says Minnow HD. This flip video is about $200. It's a video camera that you can keep in your pocket. Take a video clip and then pop out that arm, which you will see with a USB, put it right into your computer, upload the video directly to your computer and or to YouTube. Content, creation of content, very easily. All right. Now, I just got the new iPhone. I'm an iPhone lover and fanatic. The newest iPhone has video. And when I sync my iPhone, I can sync my videos right to my desktop, creating content. And that also can be used in position. I want to tell you something about video. If you haven't seen it yourselves yet, which you probably have, video is being indexed and ranked much more rapidly than text. So creating video for me is the way to go. And frankly, my background's in video. I love video, and it's really terrific because I find it easier to create video than text. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about distributing content. How do we distribute that content? Well, I hope you all have blogs. But there's many other ways to distribute content. All of these social media sites, it's a distribution network out there. And so I encourage you to work at setting up a distribution network, or or find somebody that can do that for you, because distributing the content is very important. If you create the content and you don't distribute it, you've gained nothing. So as I said, we've set up that kind of a network, and a lot of it relies on social media. We have a picture here of Barack Obama, President Obama, and I'll tell you, he's a wonderful model for all of this, and I feel like he's really leading the way. It's amazing what he has done with social video. He has a YouTube channel, he has a Facebook page. I mean, he's everywhere, and it has really built his whole brand, and a lot of people say it's what got him elected President of the United States. All right, so social media, I think you have to be there. I want to mention something else. A lot of attorneys are very afraid of social media. Here's my thought on that. I think that certainly there are some risks in social media. However, I think there's bigger risks in not being there. So my advice to my attorneys is, I tell them, listen, you've got to be there. I said, will you take some hits? Will you get some insults or maybe get some cracks from crazy people? Yes, that's going to happen. But I think you need to navigate that landscape as you go. Get out there and do it. I had a great, came across a great thing two months ago. I actually put it on my blog. There was a New York Times, I believe he was the news director, and he sent an internal email which someone published. And basically, here's what he said. He said to his crew in the newsroom, he said, we've decided that we're going to take one of our key employees and we're going to give her a new title, social media editor. And what he said is, in this topsy-turvy landscape, we don't really know what a social media editor is, but we'll all figure it out together. And that's the world we live in. It happens to be a world that I love, but I know that for some attorneys, it's a little frightening. But if you want to get out there, if you want to be able to rank and position in social media, which I certainly think every brand needs to do, then you've got to get out there and do it and navigate the landscape as you go. Let's talk about online video and internet. A couple months ago, I was in the Apple store, and I had been fascinated with this concept of Apple TV. I wasn't sure exactly what it was, and I saw this big screen, and I'd seen it a couple times, and I thought that was Apple TV. So I was down there, and I said to the guy, is that the Apple TV? And I thought, oh, it's probably thousands of dollars. And he said, well, no, that's not the Apple TV. He said the Apple TV is actually just a little box, and then it plays on the big screen. I said, oh. And so when he showed me, the Apple TV is this little box that costs about $200. I bought it and I brought it home. I wanted to understand it. My 15-year-old nephew saw it. Oh, you got Apple TV? He set it up, got us right online, and we started watching YouTube on my living room TV. It was fantastic. And now I frequently watch YouTube. Not only that, I can tell you, and I'm 53 years old, so, this is not just for young people, but I actually like I like the internet marketers. There's a lot of stuff that I enjoy. Well, they all have YouTube channels. They're not on TV, but I'd much rather watch YouTube, to tell you the truth, than traditional TV. I like it better. So what I did is, on my own YouTube channel, I subscribed to the YouTube channels of those that I like. And now, when I use my Apple TV in the living room on my HD TV, I sit there, I click on my subscriptions, and there's my 10 or so internet marketers that I like to listen to, and I just sit and I watch their videos in the living room. Well, here's what happened. A few days after I got Apple TV, I went to my other nephew's birthday party. He's 10. And he got I believe it's PSP3, the PlayStation 3. So him and his brother hook it up, and the first thing the kids did is they went on YouTube. And my understanding is that every one of these electronic game boxes, I'm not into games, I don't know the terminology, but evidently every one of them except Xbox at this point has connectivity to YouTube. So what I'm saying to you is, YouTube is extremely mainstream, and I anticipate that this online video, for me, it's far more entertaining and interesting to me than traditional TV, and I think it is for the young people. So, don't overlook the value of online video, because YouTube is being watched in living rooms around the country, I guarantee you, probably around the world. All right, podcasting and membership sites. This is another interesting thing. iTunes. We set up, again, one of my nephews, we have a family business here, but one of my nephews set up a podcast for me. And, one of the things about the iTunes podcast, and there's other places for the podcast, but, evidently the iTunes podcast is kind of its self-contained world. I don't believe it's indexed by the search engines. However, as you can imagine, iTunes is pretty popular. And so it's actually free to set up a podcast. And what I encourage you to do is create the content once and then repurpose it. Repurpose it for online video, for podcasting, for ebooks, etc. iTunes is another place to distribute your content. And it's very, very easy to do. Let's talk about cultivating relationships. Content-rich communications consistently delivered. And one of the important words there is consistently. You've got to be delivering content consistently. You know, there's a lot of ways to do that. Email, certainly opt in. The last thing you want to do is annoy people. But, you know, the things that I like even better are this inbound marketing. In other words, if you're putting great stuff on Facebook and Twitter, etc., then you're drawing people in. I want to give you a few pretty cool statistics on some of the social media. I heard this just days ago. Twitter is doubling every 90 days and is expected to be 50 million users by Christmas. Facebook is the granddaddy and has 355 million users worldwide and growing. And the 50+ demo is the largest growing segment. Here's the key to Facebook. It's about pictures. Put the photos up there. It's about pictures. Okay? Social media has clearly reached a tipping point. Let me tell you about YouTube. There are 75 million videos on YouTube. They have more views daily than ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox combined. And online video ads are up 300% this year. TV ads, I don't want to comment on that because I'm not actually sure if they're up or down. The guy that presented this said they're down, but I don't have proof of that. And I know that the TV ads are certainly important to our industry. The primary demo for social media is the coveted demo 18 to 34, and they spend 40% of their free time on social media. All right, that's more time than even on the video games. So I think that you can see the important, but content-rich communications don't necessarily have to be delivered directly by email. That also includes drawing people in through inbound marketing by giving great content on your blog, on your Facebook page, on your other social media sites, and then through the phenomenon of RSS feeds, people are seeing that. They're reading that. But you have to give them value. Nobody wants your sales pitch. You know, I heard this the other day. A guy gave me a theory on social media, and he said it's like going to a party. Everybody's looking for friends. There's a need to gather. It's a physiological, hierarchical need. And if you think about how do you mix in a party, you do things, you're charming, you're funny, you're helpful, you ask questions, you listen, you get to know people. That's not really big news here, but here is the big news. The big news, if you go to a party and you open up your case and you start saying, "Hi, I'm Jimmy, and I sell Tupperware." Obviously, you're an idiot and you're not very welcome at the party and nobody listens to you. But I see people in the legal industry trying to go and use the old school outbound marketing in a social media setting. And it's very much similar to going to a party and saying, "Hi, I'm Jimmy and I sell Tupperware." This is a new world. There's a new consumer, and if you're going to get into social media, make sure you study it enough to know what's appropriate. Don't go to the party and be an idiot, because that's damaging your brand. Client advisory panels. You know, I started with client advisory panels a couple years ago. As a matter of fact, Paul Harding, who is the chair of the AAJ Marketing Committee and who was kind enough to invite me to speak at the convention, I started a client advisory panel for him, and it's been tremendous because Paul has been very invested in it. Well, you know, I didn't get the original idea of client advisory panels. Often what we do is we take strategies that are working in corporate America or in other arenas very successfully, and we modify them and retool them to work for the legal industry. And this is an example of General Mills. They have an extremely successful client advisory panel. And I can tell you that in my experience with client advisory panels, what I have found very clearly is that there is a segment of people out there that for them, it's a status symbol to be on your client advisory panel. They love to give their opinion, and they are happy to assist you, and it actually helps you to cultivate relationships. I think that client advisory panels are a very good thing to do. The win on that, before I go ahead, is the other thing is not only are you engaging them, but you are also, it's a great opportunity for market research. Let's talk about speaking engagements. as time permits, not everybody can do speaking engagements. I see attorneys that do it well, and I don't think anybody does it better than David Daggett of Lewis and Daggett. And he does a lot of speaking engagements. And this picture you see is actually Bob Anastas. And David brings him in every year to speak to students within the Safe Sober Prom Night program. And Bob Anastas, and I'm not completely sure, I believe he started Students Against Drunk Driving. I'm not completely sure of that, but basically he speaks to students about drunk driving. He was a successful coach. I think he was a football player himself, not completely sure. But David not only brings in speakers, David's a great speaker. He goes out in the community and speaks. And I don't think David would mind me telling you this. He writes a blog, and David is out there producing content. He has an active Facebook page. He has an active blog, and he was blogging one day. I believe it was actually his marketing director in-house, who is tremendous, and she said, well, why don't you do internet safety? He wrote a blog on internet safety, and a local school called him. I believe it was it was a real higher up in the school district. And he said, would you come and speak to our parents and our students? Well, this turned into a fabulous thing. And actually what we did is my team actually created a PowerPoint for him to go out to supplement his speaking. But he has become a local expert on internet safety. And he spoke to the young people, and he spoke to the parents, and it was so well received. He's been asked to speak many places in the community on internet marketing, on internet safety. So those speaking engagements are very valuable. Let's talk about firm culture and customer service. I was at a conference a short while back, and I met Tony Heisch of Zappos, which, by the way, just got sold to Amazon. It's a fabulous company, and they're known for customer service. And here's what Tony said to me. He said, we are in the service business. We just happen to sell shoes. He said customer service. And, they are so oriented to service that I can tell you that if you order something from Zappos shoes, you will be very surprised because they immediately upgrade every order to priority shipping. You get it almost immediately. And they are just an amazing company when it comes to customer service. So much so that their brand is built on that, and they're very well known for that. Tony was featured on the Celebrity Apprentice this year. But here's something. If you write to Tony at Zappos.com and ask him for his culture book and tell him Cindy Speaker sent you, he will send that to you. It's a great book. It's a very thick book. And here's what he's done. He prints this every year. And what it is it's his employees, his team talks about that brand. And it's what the brand means to them. And it's fascinating because the people that work at Zappos, they care deeply, and there's a real culture to their brand. And anyway, if you want to get that culture book, I think you'll find it very interesting. Now, I'm going to just talk briefly about the low-cost marketing resources, and you can look at these more carefully on your own. There's lots of things that you can do that are either free or very low cost. A WordPress blog, and most of you have websites with blogs, and that's great. But WordPress is a free blog platform. I think it's the best one. The Flip, I talked about the Flip video camcorder. I think that's a tremendous little tool to create videos. I've also suggested to my attorneys that you have a couple in the office, and if you have a really good session in the office with a client, you may even get a video testimonial that a paralegal could say, hey, would you mind saying that for us? Give us a little testimonial. Lots of uses for the Flip. Call 8. Tracking numbers, I think, are very important, and this is a online place where you can get tracking numbers very cheaply, and there's an online interface so that you can not only track your calls, but you can also have them recorded. Of course, not every state allows that. You'll have to. What we've done is, if there's a state that doesn't allow that, what we do is we put a message on the beginning that says something like, we would like, for customer service purposes, we plan to record this call, or something like that. Call8.com, great source for tracking numbers, very cost effective. Google AdWords. Google AdWords is a tremendous strategy. However, the caution is, make sure that if and when you do it, you have somebody that knows how to do it, because you can lose a lot of money if you don't understand Google AdWords. You need to do this carefully with lots of analytics, which Google provides, with split testing, etc. So what I encourage you to do is is find somebody that understands Google AdWords. I think it's a great strategy. Paid search is a tremendous source of traffic. But before you do it yourself, make sure you have somebody that really understands it. Skype. This is a free way to communicate over the web, and there is a program called Pamela that will allow you to record over Skype as well. I talked with you about my client when the ConAgra food explosion happened. We immediately did an interview, and I recorded that. Well, you could actually do that over Skype and Pamela, and it will be a very high quality recording. Buy, sell ads. Okay, if you're placing ads on the internet, this is one place that you can go through. And again, I like these online interfaces where you can kind of manage everything yourself. The other advantage to that is when you're cutting out a middle person, obviously, you're not paying agency fees, so the cost is very low. Ads of the World. This is a site that I think you'll really enjoy. And what you can do is you can go in and do a keyword search, and then you can view ads all over the world. And I think it will help you as you prepare your ads. You get to see what's out there and what people are doing. And again, it's completely free. Filter box, we talked about. Google Alerts on steroids. Help a Reporter. This is a great free source. If you go to helpareporter.com, Peter Shankman, and I'm on his list, he's quite an entrepreneur. But what you can do is if you use keywords, you can actually get on his list, and he will send you on a daily basis opportunities for interviews. And what he says is you're really helping a reporter, because reporters are looking for commentators. They're looking for commentary. They're looking for experts. And attorneys are experts. They are so well positioned to give reporters interviews, but very few of them are tied into that kind of network. Well, helpareporter.com is completely free. And I suggest you get on that list or get your marketing director on that list so you begin to get alerts that are relevant to things where you're an expert and could possibly provide an interview. HassleMe.com. This is kind of an administrative type thing that if you're, I'm a list maker myself, and this works pretty well for people like me that want to be reminded. I want to make sure I stay on top of things. HassleMe is they will hassle you by continuing to remind you of things that you ask them to remind you of. Another free source. MindMeister. Again, if you're a list maker, you're going to love mind mapping. Mind mapping is an organizational tool that helps you map out a project. For instance, we're actually doing mind mapping right now for a project, kind of a site map. And this is a great way to do it because you can tier down and keep going through levels to kind of really draw out the master plan of what you want to do. MindMaster is also a free tool. Aweber. I really can't, I highly recommend this program. Aweber is a great email marketing program. I think it's one of the best and very inexpensive. You can see that if you have 500 on your email list, it's $19 a month. Okay? If you have 10,000 on your list, it's $69 a month. But Aweber, you will have to learn this system. But, if you're not doing email, which is part of your consistent communications, you need to be doing email. Not only that, but you need to understand the concept of autoresponders and campaigns, and all of that can be done through Aweber. Here's an example. You set up a web form on your website, and it says, if you would like to get my free report on the top 10 reasons you need to call an attorney after an auto accident, sign up here. Once they sign up, that web form can trigger a whole series of events. For instance, initially it will probably trigger a thank you email. And after that, maybe in 3 days, it will trigger something that says, I hope you got my free report. Just want to check and see if you have any additional questions. All right, so autoresponders and email, Aweber is a great place to go to get introduced to that. I think it's very important. It's very cost effective. SurveyMonkey. The other thing that's important is market research. And SurveyMonkey is a great little program to survey your clients, get information, find out what their needs are, because you need to understand client needs in order to be able to address and meet them. Elance. I'm using Elance right now for a project that I'm working on, and I can tell you that this is a tremendous site. You can find freelancers for just about anything, and it's really, I'm actually having some IT and development work done right now, and it's costing me $40 an hour. And there's a lot of freelancers out there that do freelance work, and this is their day jobs. They're probably in very high positions, but if they want the freelance work, this is a competitive site, and so the prices are really, really reasonable. And the other thing is that by going through this interface, there's some measure of guarantee of the work, because everybody is rated, and nobody wants to be rated poorly. So when you go to Elance, the money and everything is transacted through Elance. They take a portion of it, which is paid by the vendor and not you, and then you rate them. So I feel really kind of secure about hiring a vendor in Elance, because it's pretty well monitored. 99 Designs, and you'll like this. I used it one time. 99 Designs is a place where you can go and you can put up something. You actually start a contest. They call it launching a contest. I did this with a logo. And again, I basically wanted to understand the system, because I have some really good designers on my team, but I wanted to understand the system. So we wanted a logo developed. I put out a contest, and I said, all right, I'll pay $350 for a logo. And then what I did is I launched the contest. It runs for 7 days, and I probably had 55 designers create sample logos that I got to look at. And then I provide feedback, and they tweak them the way that I want them. And at the end of the time, I pay the $350, and I got this logo. But it's fantastic, because you actually see the work before you buy it, and you can give them feedback, and it's great. So 99 Designs, great tool if you need some graphic design work. Guru.com is similar to Elance. I like Elance better, but Guru.com is another good one. B&H Photo. I actually use a provider locally, and he's fabulous. All right, and the reason I use him is because he recommends the right products for me, and so he's all about service. But if you know what you want in terms of audio and video, and you're just buying the product, BH Photo and Video is known, and it says here, the professional source, that a lot of professional videographers, etc., buy their equipment here, because you're going to get the lowest cost, okay? But you're not going to get service. So, Facebook. If you don't have a Facebook account, get one. And recently, what we found is that Facebook did what most of the other social media sites have been doing for a long time, and that is that they allowed you to get your name. For instance, if you now go to facebook.com/Cindy Speaker, you'll see my Facebook account. All right, so if you haven't secured your own domain name, get it right away if it's still available, because it's very valuable to have your own name. Twitter. Twitter is growing, and it's I actually just recently someone gave me a whole program of how to tweet, and it's kind of tells you, how you do as far as if you're doing it for a business, you have to give content like 75 or 80% of the time, and then once in a while you can list maybe something that you're a link to go to something you're selling. But the largest part of what you're doing is you're giving content. Anyway, there's a whole system to that. If anybody wants to know more about that, email me, Cindy@cindyspeaker.com. YouTube. We all know about YouTube. Get a YouTube channel. LinkedIn. This is where often professionals will go to find other professionals. So you definitely want to have a profile in LinkedIn. Taking action. We talked about Zappos and firm culture, and I encourage you all to make a commitment to developing your firm culture. You know why? Because you're not the one making those all-important first impressions for your firm. Your staff is. And you need to have a culture where they understand that they are an integral part of your team and of your marketing team. Stand out, get noticed, and take action. Get chosen. If you would like more information, you can contact me. And I also want to mention that we are doing the Over the Horizon Media Conference, which is going to go more in depth over a couple days about what we see coming and how to tap in to new media, internet technology, online video, etc. So you can contact me if you'd like information on that. It's going to be October 14th, beginning at 7 p.m., running all day October 15th, and then October 16th it will be finished at 2:30 p.m. It will be at the Sheraton Great Valley Hotel in Fraser, Pennsylvania, very close to Philadelphia, and I have room for 50 attorneys. Thank you so much.